In today's video, I have a bunch of stuff to talk about regarding leaked maps coming to Black Ops Cold War in Season 4 and also Season 5, Season 6. We're going to go through a bunch of the remade maps from Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2 that are being brought into Cold War, and we're also going to respond to a bunch of comments that you guys have been leaving on my past videos and talk about some future Cold War Zombies DLC, what we want added to the game, a Nacht or Toten remake, different stuff like that. So I want to thank you guys. We finally did hit 78k on the channel. So if you guys are new and would like to subscribe, we're now 22,000 subs away from 100,000 subs. Seriously, thank you guys so much, man. It means the world to me. So hopefully we do hit that by the end of the year. And if you can leave a like on the video, I'd appreciate that so much as well. Let's get started here with something a lot of people don't normally talk about: Black Ops 1 maps in Cold War. And I feel like a lot of people forget, or maybe they don't forget, but we don't really talk about it, that Black Ops Cold War is a direct sequel to Black Ops 1, so in theory it would make more sense to see some callbacks to BO1 in terms of the DLC weapons they're added, the operators, and especially the multiplayer maps. So let's go through some BO1 leaks, evidence, other multiplayer maps we could see in Season 4 and beyond for Cold War. The 3 leaked maps that we've been talking about to be returning in this game. This is a leak from the Tom Henderson. He gave us this info all the way back before Cold War was even revealed. Firing Range, Jungle, and Summit. Those BO1 maps are leaked to be returning into Cold War, and we still haven't seen them release in this game, and it seems like Treyarch, right now, they're just focusing more on adding Black Ops 2 remakes to this game, which we'll talk about later on in this video. We'll talk about the BO2 zombie remakes in this game as well later on. But as you guys know, these 3 BO1 maps have been seen several times before in the past. Firing Range first appeared in the original Black Ops, then it was seen in Black Ops 2 as Studio. It was also added to BO3 as a pre-order bonus, a part of the Back in Black map pack, and you would also get it in Black Ops 4 as well. It was seen in Blackout BO4's Battle Royale, also seen in Call of Duty Mobile, so a super iconic map. Definitely one I would love to see in Cold War, and could be the surprise remaster that we are expected to see in the next season, Season 4 of Black Ops Cold War. Now, Jungle, also first seen in the original Black Ops, was remastered for BO3 and BO4. It was a part of that same update, the Back in Black map pack that gave us Firing Range. Super cool as well. I personally don't like Jungle as much, but it's a solid map, and if they do add it to Cold War, I definitely wouldn't be mad. And the other map here, Summit, again first seen in the original Black Ops. It was added to Call of Duty Online, the Chinese Call of Duty game that released a couple of years ago. Also part of the Back in Black map pack. We know that BO3, BO4, it's in COD Mobile. And Summit's just another one of those maps, similar to Firing Range, that has a near perfect map layout, a cool map design, and overall would be a pretty good addition to Cold War's multiplayer. But what other maps could we see from BO1 return into Cold War? And we're going to talk about Treyarch's focus on BO2, but what if Treyarch's focus on BO2 was for the first half of the game, and for Season 4, 5, and 6, and maybe even a potential Year 2, we get more of a focus on Black Ops 1. Again, considering Cold War is a direct sequel to Black Ops 1, we should see a bit more of a connection between those two games through the addition of other BO1 MP maps. So leave your comments down below. What other MP maps from BO1 would you want to see in Cold War? Just to think of a few here, Launch was a really sick one. Villa, Stadium as well, even though we did see Stadium as Takeoff in Black Ops 2. Whether or not they bring back Stadium or Takeoff, the newer edition in BO2, it would be so cool to see. A lot of these BO1 maps are really sick. Drive-In as well. Zoo is also in BO1, and Zoo is also leaked to be a Ural Mountains fire team map, so we can get it as a fire team map and also a multiplayer map. So BO1 really had a lot of cool maps here, and let me know down below which ones you want to see added to the game. A lot of these BO1 maps haven't really been remade as well, so these would be really new additions. So again, leave those comments down below. As for Black Ops 2 maps, there is a good chance that we're nearing the end of the BO2 remakes released into Cold War, because think about the original leaks that we've been talking about on this channel for so many months now. We had information about Standoff, Slums, Hijacked, Raid being added to Cold War. Express was actually a surprise, but that is also from BO2. We got Raid, we got Standoff. Hijacked, we recently talked about, is expected to release in Season 4 of Cold War. Slums, pretty much the last leaked BO2 map to be released in this game. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Maybe we'll get Slums in Season 5, but we have all these BO2 maps in Cold War, and 0 BO1 maps. So we know that Treyarch, they're focused on BO2. We got some leaks regarding that. And unless Treyarch decides that, you know, they're only going to be fully focused on BO2 for the entirety of Cold War, and Cold War will just be a BO2 remake game and other new Cold War original maps, you know, BO1 most likely could have a more prominent role towards the end of the season, considering we're running out of these BO2 maps, man. They're adding so much BO2 content. I think BO1 is deserving of a bit more content in this game. But don't get me wrong, Black Ops 2 is my favorite game of all time, and I would definitely love to see a bunch of the other BO2 multiplayer maps added to Cold War. You guys know I've been talking about Meltdown being added to the game, Plaza, a super underrated map in my opinion from BO2, Turbine, Yemen, one of the best maps of all time, which hasn't been remade, Carrier. How come we haven't seen Carrier in any of these past Treyarch games? I mean, these maps are so good, and I can pretty much list every single BO2 map, even the bad maps. I think the map was called Apocalypse in Black Ops 2 multiplayer. It was one of the launch maps, and even that map was pretty solid, honestly. All of the BO2 maps are goated, in my opinion, obviously, but I do think most people agree with me with that. So to see a bunch of these other BO2 maps added to the game would be really sick. And for BO2 zombie remakes, we've been talking a lot about this. According to leakers, Zombie Chronicles 2 was ported over to Cold War from Black Ops 4. Tranzit, Die, Rise, and Buried could very well be releasing in Cold War very soon. I've made countless videos talking about this. I'll leave links down below to Zombie Chronicles 2 videos where we go through in depth all of the leaks and evidence for these zombie maps in the game. But regardless of the info, this fact alone reinforces the focus that Treyarch seems to be putting on BO2 in Cold War. They're bringing back multiplayer maps, potentially the zombie maps, other weapons as well. I mean, BO2 again is just a huge part of this game, so super interesting to see how they're going to continue the rest of the Cold War season. Are we going to see more BO2 content or a bit more BO1 added to the mix? And very quickly, as for original content in Season 4, I have talked about this so many times before, so most of you guys know the maps that we are expected to see, but if you are new and you don't know, Echelon is a new 6v6 map expected to be added to Cold War in Season 4. Might be similar to High Rise from MW2. Leaks are telling us that it might be also similar to Dome from MW3. Other skyscraper building type maps. And there's another new leaked map, a Fireteam map, Dunes. Might be similar to something we see in Satellite, that type of Dunes desert vibe we see in the current MP map in Cold War right now. But other than that, we don't have any other leaks for other original maps coming to this game, and I'll be sure to update you guys once we do get more info on that. Now, responding to a bunch of your guys' comments here, here's the mainly zombies section of this video. This guy says, I would like to see the Gauntlets come back. It was a cool idea, I just didn't enjoy it in BO4. And I feel like this is a general theme here. A lot of the game modes I talked about coming to Cold War Zombies in my recent video, these were game modes that were present in BO4 Zombies. Rush, Gauntlets, the custom mutations abilities. A lot of these people in my comment section, you guys were saying like, oh, these seem like really fun game modes, but I just didn't play BO4 and I could never really enjoy them in the game. And that's actually my position as well. I just didn't play Black Ops 4. Maybe I should have played it a bit more than I did, but regardless, I can still look at them and say like, these could be pretty fun, and I hope they're added to Cold War because Gauntlets on some of these Cold War maps would honestly be really, really cool. Another comment here, Grief. I want to see Grief, Requiem versus Omega, and this is a really cool point here. Grief could definitely play into the storyline as well, having these different factions in the game, Requiem versus Omega, maybe some other factions that arise in Cold War because of Valentina's new emphasis on going to Berlin, potentially helping the World War II German soldiers with their plan from World War II in the 40s, and that could all be really cool with the story of this game, the Dark Aether story. And other people are saying they could add other factions from the past, like the CDC and CIA from BO2. This could also just be a generally fun game mode. 8v8 Grief, 16v16 Grief, Grief implemented with outbreak objectives. So you have two separate teams fighting to complete the objectives first, faster, more efficient than the other team. They could do a lot of fun stuff with Grief in this game. So again, Grief, another big one we should really see in this game very soon. Another comment here, do you think they will ever release the Nacht and Toten survival map from Die Maschine. So this is a really interesting one because there were legitimate leaks. This wasn't just a rumor. This was a leak from a very credible source back before Black Ops Cold War even released, that Nacht und Toten would be a standalone survival map ripped from Die Maschine and playable separately in Cold War Zombies, and this would be unlockable once you completed the Die Maschine Easter egg. So you would complete that Easter egg, and then at the end, you would get that Nacht und Toten survival map unlocked in the game, which again, isn't really a big thing. I mean, if you want to do a Nacht und Toten only game, you could just stay in that area of the map in Die Maschine, but it is kind of fun to have a separate little survival map that you could play on, that you could use for challenges to have fun. It's just kind of cool. And again, I know it's the same thing in Cold War and Die Maschine. It's not going to make too much of a difference. It's not really new content either, but it would just be cool to see. I think a lot of people wouldn't mind seeing it in the game. So for them to do that eventually, it would be cool. They should have just kept those original plans. Having it unlockable from the Easter egg was a cool idea in my opinion. So maybe they will add it in the near future. And we had other leaks about other survival maps being added to Cold War Zombies, pretty much small sections of the actual DLC zombie maps, bringing them over into a separate playlist, a separate map there. But that idea, that rumor, was really based on each of the DLC round-based maps in Cold War having a small remake. So we originally thought that maybe Firebase Z might have a small Shinonuma remake, and that small Shinonuma remake would be released as a standalone map. Berlin, we've been talking about potentially having a small Kino remake on the map, and maybe that Kino remake would be separately playable as well, but it seems like they're not going in that direction. I hope they do. I hope they do end up adding these survival maps. Again, it wouldn't be a big deal. It's not going to change everything, and the small survival maps aren't going to make the game that much better, but it may make it a bit more interesting to go in and, you know, you decide like, maybe, you know what, I want to play on just Kino. I want to have a little bit of a first room challenge type of vibe, play on a really small map. It's really challenging, difficult to do. There could be high round attempts on it. I think overall it would just be a pretty cool thing to see. So let me know down below what small survival maps you would want to see added to Cold War Zombies, and if you think they will end up doing it in this game. So that's pretty much it here for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1 remakes coming to Cold War. What are your opinions on this? Do you want less remakes? Do you just want them to focus on new original maps? Do you like all of these remakes? Do you think they should focus more on BO1 maps instead of BO2 maps? The Zombie Chronicles 2 stuff? What do you think is going to happen with that? Leave all your comments down below. There are 2 videos up on screen that may interest you, so be sure to check one of them out. Really appreciate it, guys. Shout out to the YouTube channel members as always. And I will see you guys in the next video or live stream. Peace out, guys.